Yeah, I want to sit in the middle.
You want to sit in the middle, dude? It's gonna be so awkward.
Why?
Because he's gonna ask you a question, and I'm gonna ask you a question, and you're just gonna be like, "Yeah, well, you see, what I did there was."
Why don't I just like sit behind the camera?
That would be real weird.
I mean, this really should just be like focused on us. Like, we're not trying to feature the athletes. We really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matter of fact,
We're
you
doing
could
this
just like
for
sit
ourselves.
on that stuff.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, so I'll just like sit on one
You
of
really
those
prefer
poles
the middle
and
right
I
now.
think- I don't give a shit.
All right.
Yeah.
How did you do it before? Lucas probably wasn't in the middle. He was probably like, I'll sit on the left.
Yeah.
That's exactly
I
what you did.
think you enjoyed it. You loved it.
Okay, I'll sit on the left then.
All right, Mike, switch
I wanna
back.
be like Lucas.
We need to like. We need to like. That's like the guest chair.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Ninjaverse TV, show where we take the best Ninja Warrior athletes, put them to the test. I'm Mike Rabert,
I'm Jordan Thurston.
and today we've got Luke Dillon. Sorry,
Hi,
I
I'm
interrupted
Luke
you.
Dillon.
Luke, let's just get
You
right
gotta
into it. You want to intro yourself?
Yeah, so should I go over my accomplishments?
Anything you want. Anything
Okay.
that you think is relevant.
I'm Luke Dillon. I train Ninja Warrior. I'm from Warwick, Rhode Island.
How long have you been doing Ninja?
I've been doing it for about like 4.5 years at this point. I was doing gymnastics before that for a long time, like 8 years, and I was competing for like maybe 5. And then I found Ninja, like I saw the show, like a lot of people, and looked for like local gyms, found one in my area, started going there. Then there was a period for about a year where I was doing Ninja and gymnastics, and then I was like, yeah, Ninja's a lot cooler than gymnastics, so I just kind of left that, started doing Ninja full time, and that's how it goes.
What did you like more about Ninja Warrior compared to gymnastics?
Just like the freedom you have. So gymnastics is a lot of like things have to be done a certain way, like very conformative. Ninja was more like I felt like I could just kind of do my own thing,
Yeah.
and it was more enjoyable for that reason.
We talked about like the freestyle element of Ninja Warrior being kind of like preferable to athletes. We think of just being able to have your own style, being able to be a little bit more creative in the movements. We talked about that with Lucas, and it was an interesting point that he brought up as well. So it's
Yeah.
cool to hear you say the
Yeah,
same thing.
definitely. And I mean, Ninja is also, and especially like when I first started doing it, it was even newer. But Ninja is like a relatively new sport, so there's not like I felt like I could kind of make my own techniques for stuff, like do things my own way. Gymnastics is like it's been around for so long. There's like very strict ways to have everything done.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like with a lot of ex-gymnasts, you see a lot of very similar motions. Like you and people like Galvin, Sean Bryan, like all those people who have strong gymnast backgrounds. Like you move very similarly, and yet you also like, I don't know, do things a little different because you were just pure power, which is something that I think is really good for Ninja. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I definitely think as Ninja transitions into more of a dynamic sport, you
Yeah.
know, like it seemed like a few years ago, you know, with the climbers being able to go from double steps into a pegboard into a cliffhanger, it did favor that strength. And now I think flashy moves are more exciting to watch, but also they're really fun to train. They're really fun to set up. You get really creative with them, and they can always have like, you know, bigger falls, bigger misses. So I think you see a lot more obstacles in competitions that have that dynamic component to it. So now you're seeing like a lot of those gymnasts that have that power, the body awareness, being able to really excel, being able to, because they already have that foundation, you know. So I think that's why you see a lot of gymnasts now that really kind of can take off.
In a way, yeah. It's also, I mean, it's difficult in a way too to transition from gymnastics to Ninja because with gymnastics you're so concerned with like form and that type of thing. You need to be looser and definitely like more flowy on courses, Ninja courses, and that can be hard. Like a lot of people who transition from gymnastics to Ninja have trouble with that. So they're the people that look like super tense and stuff. Like if you see people that were gymnasts when they were younger, they'll have trouble just like flowing through obstacles and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe something like linking laches might not work for them.
We actually had one kid stop doing Ninja Warrior because his gymnastics coach thought it was
really?
throwing off his gymnast game. Not that it was about strength or power, but because here it wasn't like we didn't care how he wanted to build up a swing on the lache, just as long as he made it, you know. So the coach was
Yeah. Yeah,
big on that.
because literally ninja is like find the most efficient way to do something. However, that like whatever that method is for you, and gymnastics is the exact opposite. It's like it's got to be done this certain way, and if it's not, then it's just wrong. Ninja doesn't have that element, which is cool.
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on, Addy?
Hello.
Hi.
We're just doing an interview with this specimen here. But if you want to like warm up or anything like that on the bars over there, then we'll get started in a little bit.
Just don't interrupt because we're live. We're just kidding. We're just kidding.
Too late.
All right, so let's jump into the Ninjaverse competition. So you competed on our first competition, yada yada.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It was terrible.
Just kidding.
Just worst experience you've ever had.
Absolutely awful.
All right, that's good.
I'm joking.
We can only go up from here.
Yeah. Set the bar low.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. You want to just give us your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think it was a good pilot episode. I enjoyed. It was like definitely one of the most unique competitions I've ever done. It wasn't like any of the stuff I've done in like NNL or whatever. I liked the fact that it was such a small field. So I mean, it was invite only, obviously, and the people that were invited to compete were all really strong competitors, and I enjoyed that aspect of it. I didn't feel like the field was saturated with just a whole bunch of people who might not be ready to compete on the same level, because that's like one issue that you have with Ninja, since pretty much everyone's running the same course at a competition. Not everyone there is going to be able to like handle the same caliber of course, so you end up with some people who can finish the whole thing and they're competing for time, and then some people who can only manage a couple of the obstacles, and we didn't really have that with the Ninjaverse thing, since like everyone who was invited was picked specifically because they'd be good for the course.
How did you feel you matched up against the competitors, the other ones? So we had Galvin, Kavanaugh, Lucas, and then Nolan. So how do you feel you matched up with them? Just basically on physical ability or anything like that?
I think it was a really good matchup overall. Like I legitimately think that everybody at that competition had a pretty good shot at winning. Like you could make a reasonable argument for anyone there being the best or the most likely to win the competition. Aside from Nolan, wasn't too worried about him. I didn't really think he had much to bring to the table.
Nolan gets trashed in every single video that we've made.
It's pretty great.
It's
But-
just an honest reaction.
Yeah, that's just how most people react to him. I don't know.
It's awful.
Yeah,
Just
but
something in his blood.
I guess so. But yeah, everyone there was really good, and I think it was a pretty even field, which was cool.
Yeah.
How did you like the multiple event format? You know, having 2 runs on the course, then going into a mini course, and then you had like a grip gauntlet. How did you feel about that?
I thought that was awesome because like I enjoy competing a lot, like regardless of league, but one of the issues or the biggest issues with Ninja is that you only have that like the one course. I mean, that's like part of the sport, and obviously it's like integral to the sport, but you only have the one shot on that course, and that's like all you get for the competition. And maybe if that course isn't well suited to your skill set, it's just not going to work out. But having the multiple events was good because, oh my god, big
That's
interruptions
close.
over here.
Unbelievable.
We would have had to restart the whole
So
thing.
This is why we can't have nice things. She just sees the camera and walks in front of it.
Right?
Yeah.
She's like about to give a
You
speech.
didn't see it. It blends in with the wall. That was kind of scary. You guys pointed at it and I was like, whoa.
We're all just talking to
That's
the
why-
Yeah, that's why I was so confused.
That's why they were doing this
Yeah,
when
we
we
just-
walked in, and I was like, hey, Jordan went.
We're all just sitting.
That's why
We just sit in a
it's
circle, you know, before,
Yeah.
just to
I was
pump
trying to
each
stay
other
really
up.
quiet the rest of the night.
So yeah, anyway, the multiple events just gave everyone at the competition more opportunity to showcase more of their skill set. So like we had the grip gauntlet, which most like NNL courses aren't going to challenge your grip as much as that did, so you might not get to see how strong athletes are in that sense. It was good to have that diversity in terms of what we had set up. That was cool.
Yeah, speaking of the NNL, so you've competed in NNL, you've done really well there. You competed in UNX, you did also pretty well there. Do you think that if you were to do like another one of these style, like decathlon styles, would you change your preparation beforehand, or kind of just like what's your preparation for competitions like, and do you think it changes based on what event you're competing in?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, if I know ahead of time what events I'm going to be competing in, I can definitely train specifically for that. I didn't in this case. Like, I didn't know super far in advance that we were doing a grip gauntlet. Otherwise, I would have trained more of that type of thing. But it definitely makes a difference with the fact that you're competing or like getting on obstacles multiple times throughout the day instead of just like running that one course. I feel like to get specific, like getting more sleep before the competition, making sure you're like eating better so you have energy to compete multiple times, like spread your energy throughout the day. That's like something that's different in this type of comp rather than just running 1 2-minute course. That doesn't take as much energy.
Yeah. How did you feel your endurance held up throughout the night? Because obviously, like you did, besides sort of just warming up, you did the 2 courses, you did the 2 mini courses, and then you had to do grip gauntlet at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like that affected you at all, or were you still pretty fresh?
I felt like I was all right. I mean, that's definitely something that could be, that's like an element of it. Like people might have difficulty with that. I felt like I was kind of all right because I'm more of like, I consider myself to be pretty well conditioned. Like, I don't know. So I thought that was fine. I felt just, well, not just as good. I was a little tired, but I felt good towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like even some training sessions, like even in groups of people, like the training sessions will last 2, 3, 4 hours. But then when you're competing, you're only getting that, hopefully 2, 3 minutes on the course and everything like that. So there's definitely a big ratio about almost the way the competitions are, like similar to a rest day. So adding in that more endurance factor, the conditioning factor is definitely something. And it depends on the type of events too. If you're mixing in upper body and lower body events and the style events, I think would make a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I like that though. I think it's good that you have to be in shape to do this, like these competitions, rather than like, because I mean, usually you can get away with being in like not so great shape in ninja comps as long as your technique is good and you're smooth through the obstacles. But like with this, you're just gonna get tired, gonna gas out if you're not.
Yeah, and I think it's something too that we saw like on the grip gauntlet, like some like the ones who weren't on obstacles as much, like you saw Connor like gas out a little bit sooner than I was expecting. So I definitely think the earlier runs, played a factor on somebody who hasn't been on, obstacles recently and things like that. So we have some pretty long training sessions, so I think that helps out a bit. Could you describe like what would be like your hardest training session, whether throughout the week or a month, or something you do consistently that is just really difficult for you?
Yeah. So the other day I was on Amazon and one of those shake weights.
I do it.
I ordered one of those and I've been going hard at that, and I'd say that's
all day,
like,
every day.
Yeah, that's about.
You just use one?
Well, yeah, I usually use one. I use it like this.
We
and
haven't
that's
progressed
like
to
about
the,
as
we
tough
haven't
as it
progressed to
gets.
the double yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
No, I
Not
can't
there
even
yet.
imagine it.
Okay.
Just hours on that thing.
No, but
Endurance.
yeah, it is. Realistically though, one of the most difficult styles of training sessions we do, and something that probably applied pretty well to this type of competition, is we'll do like a course run and then mix that in with a workout. So it'll be like maybe run the course one time and then run a quarter mile or something like that, or like run the course one time and then do a series of exercises with dumbbells or something like that. So you're running the course and working efficiency, and then you're also tiring yourself out between runs just with like the straight up conditioning.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, that's really solid conditioning. I haven't tried that workout.
What did we do, like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just about applying the general physical preparation into the course runs, and then going into the next course run, you're not as fresh as you would think, and then being able to have that after and get that extra boost. I think being efficient while tired is one of the things that you see the best ninjas are very capable of. So mixing in the exercises, the conditioning, getting your heart rate up, not fully recovering between your course runs can really help you have to bring a new level of mental focus into that next run and the runs after that. So, and then again, it helps being able to, in the long run, being able to get on multiple course runs during your training sessions, of running them not just 2, 3 times, but 4, 5, 6 times even. So helps out a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be prepared to not always be at that ideal like maximum capacity before you compete. I mean, you never know what's gonna happen. You might like throw up all day before World Finals. Like that's something that could happen.
Is that what you did, or?
Yeah, yeah. I slept for like 18 hours the day before finals.
And then vomited the other like 5.
Basically. But yeah.
Alright, you want to get into the spoiler section?
Yeah, let's jump into spoilers. So yeah, you want to just talk about what events you like the most, which one you like the least, and a little bit about why?
I'd say, I mean, it's hard to choose between the longer course and the grip gauntlet. Those are both really fun. I mean,
nobody liked that mini course.
No.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll get there. The mini course.
Start with what you like and then go over it, I guess.
So, I mean, running courses is just fun all the time. Like, I mean, that's why I enjoy the sport. That's why I like
That's
everyone
the
enjoys
sport.
That's like
Yeah.
what the sport is. If
Yeah.
you don't like running courses, maybe pick a different sport.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the course was good. Which
What did
made
you
it.
think of the course? What did you like about it?
I thought the course itself was a good mix of like a bunch of different types of obstacles. So obviously you had like the different elements in the competition, like with the grip gauntlet and all that. But even the course itself it wasn't just like strictly speed or strictly grip. It was kind of like a mix of both. And I thought, yeah, it left a lot of room for doing obstacles differently and
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was pretty technical.
yeah, it was a technical course. Left opportunity to pick up time in like a lot of different places. So I enjoyed it for that reason. And then the grip gauntlet was fun just because it was something that I had never really done in competition before, but something that I train a lot. So like normally grip gauntlets are just like a way to get stronger, and it was cool to actually like compete with other people on one of those.
I feel like competing in grip gauntlets must really help get the most out of them too. Because
Yeah.
like when like when you just train a grip gauntlet, it's just so easy to like not fully max out. But when you're in a
Yeah.
competition setting, especially going up against guys like that must have been pretty motivating just in itself to really bring to like as far as you can go.
Yeah, that was cool. Like it was definitely, I was gonna push myself there, like in that setting as hard as I could.
Yeah.
I was also really interested to see like how the other guys would do, because I've seen them like do upper body obstacles but never kind of like max out like that.
And that's one of the points of like making it multiple events is like we basically just want to see like what these guys can do, what
Yeah.
they're capable of, because we see like training videos,
Yeah.
you see like highlights on Instagram, every now and then like a competition, but we don't think that people see that frequently enough. Like people should see like how athletic, how strong, how powerful like these ninja athletes are, so
Yeah.
that's part of going into the events that we like to carry over.
Well, the other thing about that is like a lot of the like Instagram highlight reels and competitions, like you don't know. I mean, with the like highlight reels, you never know how many tries it took to get that.
Yeah.
Like you don't see all the work that goes into it.
Yeah.
And same thing with competitions. Like you get to NNL finals and like you went out on the barrels this year. Like
Yeah.
that is not indicative of how strong you are as an athlete at all.
Mm.
Yeah, it's about finding that healthy balance between having the ability and being able to execute in that moment.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like I understand that like a big part of the sport is like you have to be able to do it in the moment on your first try. Like,
Yeah,
that's
and
like,
I love that part.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely like a big element of the sport, but I mean, it's cool just to be able to see what people are able to do
Yeah.
if they have more of a chance to.
And get the best out of each athlete,
Yeah.
and then see where that best kind of lines up, and then you know what you need to work on, who you can keep up with, and things like that. I think it's helpful to take that information back into the training and in the gym, and say like, all right, we can cover this.
Yeah.
So obviously your least favorite was the mini course, which was probably my favorite, but Lucas said that was his least favorite.
Yeah.
Favorite. Yeah. So what did you like about the mini course, bro? Hurt my feelings.
Pretty much everything. I thought whoever designed it should reevaluate their
Told
job.
you to step your game up, Mike. I told you they weren't gonna like it.
No, I
one
mean-
job.
That was
One
it.
job. Make a good mini course.
No, it was fine. It was just like I'm not gonna like the mini course as much as the long course because the long
Yeah.
course just has more course.
That's a
But
fair point.
That is a fact.
it's just you're not on the
Can't
course
figure
as
that
long.
out.
The mini course, it was cool though. I mean, you had to be, I'd say, more efficient on each obstacle. Like I said this about the longer course, there wasn't as much room to make up time in on the smaller course. Like there were only, how many obstacles were there in the whole thing? Like four? Yeah,
4 or
that's what I
5
thought.
if you count the cliffhanger. Yeah, 4.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Sandline and cliffhanger were kind of one.
So you don't have room to be inefficient on like one of the obstacles because that's like a fourth or a fifth of your whole run,
Yeah, exactly.
which that made it interesting.
Sticking with the mini course, so you had a pretty cool strategy going into it where you talk about like trying to like save time, stuff like that. We'll get to the blender in a second, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, we'll talk about the good stuff.
All right.
Drop it on you. But yeah, so you talk about like being able to save time, and you were able to skip the bungees that were in between the cliffhanger. So that was a pretty sweet moment. That saved you a lot of time. I think you and Nolan were the only two that went through that. Was that a move you were comfortable making? Were you taking a shot at it, or like what was going on through your head for that decision?
Yeah, so we've been working a lot of cliffhanger lately, so I felt pretty good about it, but I was doing it in warm up and I wasn't getting it every time. So I was like, I'll just take a risk on it for the first run, like might as well send it. And then I got it and it felt pretty easy. I guess like being just like in competition made it easier. Yeah, I was surprised like the other guys who didn't make the move, like well, the
I
other
thought for
three
sure
of them-
after like you and Nolan did it, I thought on those like the second, third rounds that they
that
would
Dave was gonna try.
I thought so.
that they would at least all try at least once, you know, because you do have multiple tries. I thought they were
Well-
I thought they would just start throwing it because it did seem like
It saved a lot more time.
It did save like a lot of time, and like the difference of times at the end of the mini courses were only like 2-3 seconds.
Yeah, I think
so
Nolan was at like 26 and a half. Galvin was at like 27. You were 28.
Yeah.
So it was all really close.
Yeah, so I'm surprised that more of them they seem to
Well-
use the same strategy every time.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, like it definitely saved a little bit of time being able to do the big move. But like the guys who did use the bungees, they made it pretty smooth. Like Dave, I remember, I don't know if it was just him, but he went like vertical limit style on the cliffhanger, so he like
Galvin.
went to the bungees.
Yeah, Galvin went underneath.
Maybe they both did it, and yeah, I don't know, they moved through that pretty quick. So
Yeah,
like it
they're all
saved us
pretty
time, me and Nolan, but like they were still pretty quick through it.
Yeah.
And then going in the opposite direction on your first run, you got called out on a foot tap trying to jump through the salmon ladder. So
Yeah.
what's going on there?
I mean, it was the same thing that I was saying about the cliffhanger. Like, I might as well just try it because, like, I knew I had the second run, and I knew the course was short, so I had to save time somewhere. And it was definitely like a doable jump. Like, my jumps aren't my specialty, being like not the tallest person there's ever been. But like, it was definitely like a jump I probably could have made. I just like didn't jump high enough. I don't know.
You were like, when I was rewatching the video, you were really close.
Yeah, I don't know.
You
I
can't
maybe
really see
didn't
too
need
much
the
in
foot tap.
the video. It looked a lot clearer in person.
Yeah.
Like that like the foot hit.
Oh
But,
yeah, the fact that the foot hit was a lot more clear in person, but
Yeah.
like how close you were to pulling off the move
Yeah.
was really clear in the video because it almost looks like you just like weren't like fully extended, like almost not fully committed to it.
But you still made it to the cliffhanger. Too.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
still able to get there. So
Yeah,
it seemed,
I feel like I should have just gone for it again on my second run. Like
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just gonna play it safe, and I think I hit the Superman,
Yeah.
which was like a reasonably efficient way to do it. But I should have just gone for the jump again.
Yeah, I still think the most efficient way was how Lucas and Connor approached it, with just being able to, do that snap with the chest and getting it forward, and then being able to lift it. I think the Superman probably took up a little.
Yeah, you had
just
the
that
extra
one
front swing.
section.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the front swing. But I thought they had the most efficient technique on that. But going back to the grip gauntlets too, on the second round, I believe it was, on the cannonballs, you were the only one that was able to maintain a lock off going through that one. So how were you feeling like once you finished the full circuit and you had to start going through it again? Did you know that you were going to have the lock off strength at the time and that was going to be able to give you the win, or did you think it was just something you got there and you just knew you had the strength for it?
I mean, I'm pretty confident in my lock-offs. Like, if there's one thing that I'm like really sure of, it's that like my lock-offs are gonna hold out. It's like it was the same thing on the grip gauntlet. My grip is like usually the thing that's gonna go first. So like I knew I had the lock-off strength to like I could have probably kept going with that like bent arms, but my grip just is like disproportionate to my lock-offs for some reason.
Yeah, very cool, very cool.
Yeah, it was pretty insane how like comfortable you looked going through the gauntlet the second time, like the second round through.
Yeah, I felt okay.
Did you feel super pumped when you were on Captain Hook the second time?
No,
Like,
I wouldn't say so. I mean, it was more like when I got there, that's when I started to feel it, like in my
Yeah.
forearms. I felt like I was slipping off, but other than that, I was all right.
Good. All right, so we got a couple of questions for you that kind of closes this out. But one of them is if you could compete against one ninja in one type of event, who would it be and what would that event be?
Does it have to be course related, obstacle related?
We'll do both.
Okay, perfect.
We'll do both.
So, Yeah.
Nolan in a fist fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Nolan in like a Russian slap boxing
in a
competition.
bare knuckle, no holds barred cage match.
The best thing about doing this is that we don't have to like conform to any league or anything. Like we can put you and Nolan into a slap.
Yeah, that's what.
I mean, that could be like a
Winner
fair-
gets 5 points.
Yeah.
We just make it up as we go, anyway. So.
First thing that comes to mind, I'd want to challenge Drew Dreschel to a wrestling match because I'm pretty sure he has a background in wrestling, and so do I, and
didn't
I'd
know
like
that.
to see what he's got
I didn't
going.
know he had a background in wrestling.
If he doesn't, it might be better.
I don't.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, Blake Harrison told me he did, so like we can take that however we want it. But like I'm pretty sure he does. If he doesn't, then it would be fun. He's like at least how he's sitting currently, he's in a much higher weight class than me.
Oh no! You calling Drew fat?
Yeah.
You hear that, Drew?
But I still think it'd be interesting. It'd be a good time.
I
He's
would
like,
I would put up a purse to watch that happen. So I just moved to Florida, but
I'll go.
I'm going down there in July.
I'm
so
going to
send me
Florida.
the video, and I will put up a purse for get that event going on.
Dude, I would go down there just for that. But
we gotta set up like a pay-per-view.
Yeah,
Event
we
for
can
this.
get that on there.
that would be pretty sick. But like ninja related,
Yeah.
Back to business.
what?
Back to business.
Yeah.
Little segue.
I mean, if we're talking specific event, I would want to compete against Vance Walker in like anything salmon ladder related.
Whoa.
I think that would be sick because like yeah, he's kind of known as like the king of that obstacle. Some might call him salmon ladder Jesus, or I mean he might call himself that.
Yeah. Anybody ever use that?
Yeah, I think it would be cool to like literally anything, like just a max rungs or like I don't know.
Maybe that's why Sean Bryan called him out.
Yeah, he'd cook Sean Bryan. Gonna be completely honest.
I think so.
I never got a chance to get on like the super salmon ladder at UBW, but he has the record for that.
Yeah.
I'd want to try it.
The big one, we were able to get on the real life one.
Yeah, but the real life one is like
It is clunky.
it's weird. Like the
Is it like janky?
A little bit, but like the pulley
Yeah.
is kind of like super giving. So it's like
Oh,
it's
okay.
kind of just like you don't have to be that accurate with it. Like
Gotcha.
once you kind of figure it out, you can skip and like the rungs are all like different. lengths
yeah,
and
the
stuff,
rungs
so-
aren't even the
Oh,
same
yeah.
distances. It's like
Yeah, it's very
1 foot,
randomized.
1
Okay.
foot, 8 inches.
Yeah, then it's like 16
I don't know.
or something. So it's
Okay.
it's a little weird. But how many moves can you max out on? You haven't tried it in a while, but.
Probably like
4.
yeah, probably like 4 or 5 if I had to say.
Totally take them.
Yeah, no, like couldn't tell you,
That'd be
but
interesting.
it's definitely like between 4 and 300.
All right.
Fact.
It's fair.
That's a good estimate. All right, and then going back to the competition, was there one kind of move or technique or something that happened that you were particularly proud of, like happy with how it went?
Yeah, I mean the whole like my whole first run, I thought was pretty decent. Oh, do we want to just like? All right.
Just want to check the battery.
Yeah, I thought I was pretty happy with my first run, even though I mean people ended up beating the time I put up. I was the first person to. Well, I think Connor was before me, but he went out early.
Yeah.
Yeah, he found the
So
pulse.
yeah, I was the first person to make it all the way through, and I thought that I put up a decent time. I just took forever on the ropes, but other than that, I was happy with it.
Yeah, I found that part interesting about the event. How I think everybody's second run was worse, except
Yeah.
for Connor's.
And Dave's.
Yeah, I thought they fell on the fidget spinners on the second one.
First run he fell on his fidget
Oh,
spinner.
okay.
Second one it was the walking
Yeah.
bar.
Literally nobody finished on their second run because everyone was just
Yeah,
trying
there
to
was
book
no
it.
clears. Yeah, that was another interesting thing that I found interesting because you always expect improvement, but once you see other people's times, it might change with it and stuff. So I thought that was interesting. If there was one thing you can change, like go back and have another shot at it, or a bad decision you made, or something like that, what would it be?
I took some rest time, like on my first run, for some reason. Like, I think I was pretty quick through all the obstacles, and then I was chilling before the ropes and then before the walking bar obstacle, and I just wouldn't have done that. Like, I didn't really need to rest, and I didn't really think about the fact that like nobody else was gonna need to rest.
Mm-hmm.
And after I finished, I was like, that was probably just a waste of time. So I would have just gone right into it.
That's fair, but I also think that they probably didn't rest after seeing your run because they knew how fast you went, and they were like, all right, I can't rest, I can't afford to. So it's kind of like the disadvantage of setting the pace at the same time. Yeah, that's fair. All right, so the last question that we have for you, we got 5 obstacles. Rank them favorite to least. So
Okay.
we got cliffhanger, warp wall, salmon ladder, trapeze laches, and jumping spider.
All right, number 5, we're going jumping spider. That's like
Nobody ever
not.
talks to
Dude, it's
I'm
not.
not
Well,
even
all
talking
right.
about it. You don't have to explain yourself. Keep going.
Yeah, that one doesn't really need explanation. After
Four.
that, we got warped wall. It's
Okay.
like obstacles played out. Don't need to see anybody else doing the warped wall as long as I live. That's
Yeah,
my
but
opinion
don't
on
you
that.
find it fun?
I find the mega wall fun. 18-foot wall. That's
That's
fine.
a warp
That's a warp
wall.
wall.
That's a warp wall.
Does that change?
Get an
your-
18-foot wall. That would be cooler.
Get a carpenter's license.
Yeah. After that, I mean trapeze laches.
Really?
Depends on what we're talking about. That's what I was gonna say.
I figured I thought for sure that would be number 1.
Well, it depends because if you're talking like
Well, it's like all of it. Like it's like general. Like just
general, well, I mean,
like
if
it
you're
could be wing nuts. It could be squirrel. It could be like just regular lache bars.
Bow ties.
what if you had like? Can we count like a
Some flying
huge-
mustache bars.
like a massive trapeze on magnets where you just swing and throw like a 20-foot lache?
Yeah, that's a trapeze.
Sure.
All right.
Trapeze.
Then I'd put that probably above. No, that's still number 3. We're going on to number 3.
All right, wasting time. Keep going.
Then number 2, cliffhanger. Number 1, salmon ladder. Depending
I'm really surprised.
depending on the salmon ladder.
Depending on the salmon ladder.
Yeah, some like I don't know. Some salmon ladders are a really enjoyable experience.
What's your favorite salmon ladder?
That's a good question. That's like a whole nother list. Probably.
That's a whole nother interview.
Yeah, that's I could go on for a long
What's
time.
your
on
favorite?
my
What's your
salmon
favorite like
ladder.
technique on the salmon ladder? Like,
Favorite? All right. So first of all, my favorite salmon ladder is probably the one at Jungle Gym. It's like pretty sick. The support system's nice.
what?
My-
Is it a super salmon ladder? Or is it-
Kind of. It's like I don't know, maybe like 10 rungs or something on each side.
Yeah, it's
But
pretty
it's
long.
just
okay.
it's just built really nice.
Mhm.
Superman's cool. It's just like a cool technique.
Superman's fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would ever use it in competition, but it's
I
super
think it
fun.
works like if you're linking off like, you know, we had like the link off the salmon ladder, but the cliffhanger is relatively close.
Yeah.
But I think if you were throwing like a further one,
Mhm.
I don't think the technique that Connor and Lucas used would get them as far as like.
Yeah, you come off it with a ton
Yeah,
of
yeah.
power with the Superman.
Yeah,
Like,
you
that's
can
not
really
much.
link it off. So I don't know if it's more efficient if you were just doing a salmon ladder transfer, but I think if you were throwing into something a little bit further away,
Yeah.
I think it might be a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, man, I'm surprised. I thought for sure it was gonna go laches, then salmon ladder. I thought cliffhanger was gonna be towards the bottom.
Really?
Luke kind of sucks at the cliffhanger.
Dude, I like cliffhanger.
Dude, he's in my top
Whatever.
5 for cliffhangers.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Top 5 easy.
No way.
Easy.
No way.
No one's 6.
See? Now we're
Again,
talking
back to
business
trashing
here.
Nolan.
This is good. Yeah, you're contradicting earlier. He like hyped me up in like the intro to the episode. Like, yeah, he was talking. Never mind. Yeah, the episode doesn't exist yet.
No, this is the spoiler section.
Yeah, you're in the spoiler section.
Oh, we can like talk about it. Like,
Yeah,
okay. So then, yeah, you hyped me up as like good at cliffhanger. You're like, yeah, this
I'm not
kid's
saying you're bad at it.
particularly good at cliffhanger. And then he's like, yeah, he's terrible at cliffhanger.
Compared
Well, he
to
doesn't edit the video.
all right. So compared to your other skills, cliffhanger.
Do you think you're better at cliffhanger or vertical limit?
Definitely vertical limit.
Yeah, all his other skills are better than his cliffhanger.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can't just like what you're good at.
I'm not saying to like it. I'm just saying that that's what I meant by when I said you suck at it.
Coach, if you
suck at
only
it
like to
compared
do
all
what
the
you're
other
good at,
skills.
you're not going to get any better.
No, stop getting all philosophical about it. I made my point. You're good at the cliffhanger, but compared to all your other skills, it's lacking.
But he can still like it.
But I still think it's fun.
Yeah, who likes that?
All right, let's wrap this thing up.
Okay.
Any last questions for him?
No.
No. Anything else you want to say about the episode, Ninja in general? Whatever you want. This is your time to shine.
I think it's cool that there are multiple leagues out there. Like, it's good that there's diversity in that way. Like, every league kind of has its own thing going on. And I think that's good, just like it allows the sport to grow. this league in particular. I think there's like a lot of room to grow. Like, could take it in a lot of different directions. NNL is kind of set. That's like, I guess, the main league right now. They're kind of set in like their ways, what they've got going on. UNX is like newer, but I like the idea of that being a more professional league. And then I like the idea of this being the league that kind of showcases the athletes and their skill set more. I think that's interesting. That's about it. It was a good time. The competition was good. It was all smooth and condensed. It was dope.
Yeah, I do want to say that Luke is definitely probably the strongest ninja.
Yeah.
I would say matched up with anybody. I would say that there's nobody more just powerful and strong in Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, I'd agree with that
No.
completely.
I'd like to have not a fight, like a fist fight, but I'd like to have like a battle with
Right
like
now?
Adam Burnett. I think that would be cool.
Yeah,
But I think, if I can speak on it, I think I have like
but
a good shot.
I feel like as far as like physical attributes go and like the strength and the power game, I don't know if anybody is trying to Luke.
That's like the first nice thing you've ever said about me.
It's not that
We should
nice.
definitely end it right there then.
But he still sucks at the cliffhanger.
Yeah, he's like
And
really
as like a
strong
person
except-
overall, just like awful.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. That's all we got for today. Make sure to follow Luke on Instagram and TikTok.
Say, don't
Don't follow me on
Don't.
TikTok.
Oh,
Say
I'm
it.
just promoting him. Don't
Okay.
worry, I'm not gonna do that.
I'll explain later.
Yeah. Yeah, follow Luke on Instagram, follow him on TikTok especially. And that's pretty much all we got. So be sure to check out the episode and check you out next week.